My journey with Swami started at age of 4. And I remember it vividly. I thought it was a dream. I had to ask my mom multiple times whether it actually happened. But she took me to Parthi when I was 4 years old. And because I was so young, they allowed me, in back in the day, I mean, we're talking 75 born, right? So we're talking, 79, 80. And so it was still sand. It wasn't what it is today. Um, and they allowed me to sit with the Sevadals allowed me to sit with my mom because I was still a child. So I was sitting beside my mom, and bhajans had started, and I don't know why, but I till today I have the same habit. I close my eyes when I sing. I don't know how to do it in any other way. And I opened my eyes halfway through a bhajan. I don't know why I opened my eyes, and Swami was standing right in front of me. And 4 years old, right? So scared. Like the first thing was like intimidation. Like, whoa, Swami's not that tall, but at 4 years old, neither was I. So he's standing there in front of me, and he looks right at me and he says, "You're singing very well. Sing louder." Now, I did at 4 years old. I didn't know what that meant. My mom said, "Okay, you're learning bhajans. That's it. That's it. That's all. You're going to learn bhajans." So that's when my training actually began. And the first bhajan I actually learned was Rama Rama Sai Rama. That was the first bhajan I was taught, and it was taught to me by my mom. So um, so that was an interesting start to my journey with Swami. Now, for a lot of you that know me, you'll know me that I'm not one of those. I don't have experiences. For me, it's just life with Swami in under Swami's fold. Anything that has happened is because he's done it. And sometimes I sound like an idiot because I speak to him and I speak loudly. I don't. It's not an inner voice or anything like that. I don't get dreams. That This is not the stuff that happens for me. It's all I just talk to him. So, fast forward from um, uh, age 4 to age, I would say 14, or even younger, 13 maybe. I had a really good group of friends, mature group of friends, I would say, for that age, in Bombay, growing up in Bombay. And I had an opportunity where my father's older brother in Toronto had said, "Hey, I'll adopt you if you want to move," because we couldn't afford for me to come on a student visa. Too expensive. The school fees and all that. It's just too expensive. We couldn't afford it. So my father asked me. He said, "Dad said, do you want to go?" And I said, I talked it over with my friends, and they all said, "Dude, we'd kill for this opportunity to go. If you get it, go." So I said, "Yes, I want to go." And guess what? Got rejected by the Canadian government. And on so I said, "Okay, Swami, it's your wish. If you don't want me to go, I won't go. मेरे को क्या है? मैं तो खुश हूँ. I'm a Mumbaiite after all. I'll leave it to you." Well, a few years passed. My dad decided. He said, "I'm gonna." When they rejected it, he said they are rejecting it on the basis of a wrong law. I'm gonna take them to court. So he took Canadian immigration to court. I said, "Dad, why do we need to do this? If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be." He said, "Okay, if you don't want to go, you don't go. But on principle, I will take them to court." So I said, "Okay, I'm leaving it to you, Swami. Whatever happens, happens." Well, guess what? One fine day, I've graduated now. I finished my 10th standard board exams. This is 1990, end of 1990, beginning of 1991. And I get a call from dad saying, "Guess what? We won. And your immigration is now approved." That day, I was thinking about how to, I was on my way to college. And I was thinking about how to bunk class because it was India Pakistan one day international, and for me, I'm a huge sports fanatic. So I was like, okay, what excuse can I use? So when dad called, I didn't think. I just said, he said, do you still want to go? And I said, yep, I do. I want to go. Why? Because then if I say yes, I'm going, then I don't have to go to college. I'll watch the cricket match, which is exactly what happened. That's what I did. I hadn't thought this through. 2 weeks post that call, I was on a flight. And at 15 years of age, leaving I would say 15 and a half, actually, 15 and a half years of age, given I was July born, right? So heading to Canada without my parents. So that was a journey in and of itself. So now I arrive. I arrived first in Toronto, and then I moved to Alberta, which is where I reside till today. And I'm living with my uncle and aunt. So my aunt is my father's older sister, and so I'm living with them in a small town of Carstairs, Alberta. When I say small, I mean small. 500 people total. Okay, children included. 500 people. And this is where, if you want to talk about my faith in Swami, this is where it began. So first of all, I'm coming without knowing the culture. So you want to talk about culture shock. And I left it all to Swami. I said, you know what? You're going to guide me. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I don't even know this culture. He guided me. The first 6 months was difficult, but after that, I adapted. I learned the culture, the language, how people communicate, how kids communicate with each other. Because that time it was grade 11, grade 12, so I had to do that here. And I got involved with the Sai Center in Calgary, like heavily involved. So as part of the youth group and things like that. And this is where in 91, I got involved with the youth group very quickly, and very quickly they said, yeah, this boy needs to sing. And I said, Swami, you sing through me. I'm not just instrument. That's it. You want to sing? Just say, use me as an instrument. I'm good with that. So now the rule in our house was, and my aunt was also one of my, in fact, my last bhajan guru. And she was very strict. She's Carnatic trained. And she has this thing that if you don't practice, you don't sing for Swami. That's it. Period. No, there are no exceptions to that rule with her. And her rule was, Monday, you're singing on Sunday, you're going to sing Monday through Saturday, you're going to practice that bhajan. If you practice it all 6 days, on Sunday, you sing at the center. That was the rule. Well, I sang Monday through Friday. I practiced. Saturday was a hockey game. And I wanted to, like I said, I'm a huge sports fanatic. I wanted to watch that game. So I said, Swami, I have practiced. And I told him, point blank, I told him, I said, Swami, I have practiced. I'm pretty sure I have practiced more than anybody else that's going to sing in that bhajan session tomorrow. So guess what? I should be good. I'm good to go. Saturday rolls around, and normally you would think, hey, bhajan practice you would practice on in the mornings, right? But Monday through Friday I can't. It's all schoolwork and all of that. So my habit was to practice in the evenings. Now guess when the game is? Evenings. So Saturday evening there's a game. My habit was to practice in the evening, so I didn't practice in the morning. We had housework, we had vacuuming, we had cleaning, dusting, all of this to do. Kamliyata walks by. I'm sitting in front of the TV. Kamliyata walks by. This is Saturday evening now. Kana, you haven't practiced. First warning, right? I ignored it. I'm like, whatever. Game is starting in like 15 minutes. I'm not worried. She walks by 5 minutes later. Kana, you haven't practiced. 5 minutes after that. Kana, you haven't practiced. Now in baseball, they have here, if anybody knows baseball in North America, they'll know 3 strikes and out. She warned me 3 times. She didn't say anything after that. She went to bed. I'm watching the game with my uncle. We are watching the game. Quietly, she walked away. Next is Sunday. I'm normally the bhajan I was going to sing was supposed to be sung at number 9. So last bhajan. So I sit down. I've got my tablas in front of me because I was also the tabla player for the Calgary Center at the time. So I got my tablas in front of me, everything tuned, all good. The auntie, the bhajan coordinator, Auntie Saku, comes. She puts number 9 in front of me. I'm like, I say thank you. Kamliatas quietly, she's watching. Not a word said, by the way. Not a word said. She quietly comes. She walks from the ladies' side to the men's side, picks the number 9 up, gives it back to the bhajan coordinator, saying he didn't practice the way he's supposed to practice. He will not sing today. He can play and he can follow. And then she looks at me with a smile on her face and says, Kanna, you follow, okay? Today, you don't have to lead. It's okay. And walks away. I learned my lesson that day. And Swami teaches us lessons in many different ways. He made up for it, though. He absolutely, because the bhajan that I was supposed to sing that day was Satya Dharma Shanti Prema Swarupa. That was my number 9 bhajan. He took it away on that day because, I chose something other than what I should have done, my discipline. And I was thinking to myself, I said, Swami, I'm sure I would have sung it well. Like, what the heck? Like, come on. This is unfair. And that was, I told him, I told him, because I just talked to him as if he's right there, which he is. For me, he has always been, he listens. Akhand Bhajan was rolling around soon after. Now for Akhand Bhajan, same year, right? 1991. Akhand Bhajan was rolling around. And for Akhand Bhajan, that year, the youth were in charge of decorations. So the aunties made all the garlands and the flowers and, everything. And the youth were in charge of putting everything up. And we double stapled things because we were like, hey, we don't want this, all of us youth, most of them having grown up in North America, me having come from India, and still, at a young age, having primarily growing up in North America, so to speak, we all had the same belief, which is we don't want miracles happen, fine, but just because some flower falls, no, we're going to double staple everything. If it falls, we want to know that it's genuinely falling. So we're absolutely 100% attaching everything so that nothing can fall, which is how we did it. So we had everything organized. Akhand Bhajans have started. The youth had we stayed up all night anyways, but the youth had, I believe it was 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Slot, after which we could go take some rest and then come back in the morning and re-energize. So in that slot, we back in the day we used to give numbers out so that there was no confusion and Akhand Bhajans didn't. It was just one after the other, right? So now I had the last bhajan. I sang in between also, but I had the last bhajan, and I'm like, okay, what do I sing in the last one? Satya Dharma Shanti Prema Swarupa. Why not? We'll sing that. So I have a habit when I sing, I close my eyes. It just automatically happens. I close my eyes and I sing. So I didn't know what was going on. I'm singing. People are following. I had no idea. After the bhajans were over, after our youth group session was over, I'm like, I'm tired. I'm going to go get at least a couple of hours, 2-3 hours of sleep. I'll come back. So that's what I did. I didn't know what had happened. Now, apparently what had happened is when I was singing Satya Dharma Shanti Prema Swarupa, only one, like we had roses all over the top of the altar, okay? And coming down, literally. One rose fell when I was singing Satya Dharma Shanti Prema Swarupa, and it fell at Swami's feet. I didn't know because I had my eyes closed. I'm just singing. मैं तो गा रहा हूं. My youth, my fellow youth, and this isn't even my story. This is their story, honestly. My fellow youth noticed this, and this is what they did for me. They laminated this and they presented it to me. I didn't know. They laminated it, dated it, presented it to me the next when I woke up and came back. They had all of this done in that meantime. And somehow my wife has a lot to do with this, because we've moved so many times. I had forgotten that this existed, and she has somehow moved this from home to home to home until today we have it. And so he took away Satya Dharma Shanti Prema Swarupa when I didn't practice. He gave it back to me. He gave it back to me, for Akhand bhajans. And this is one of the key things that I always recall and recollect and take with me. Uh, Next year, 1990, I'm going to try and go chronologically here. 1992. So again, back in the day, we used to have retreats, not only Western Canada retreats, but we also used to have retreats. If some of you might have heard of Wilma Bronchi, if not, you can Google her. Wilma Bronchi was based out of Portland, Oregon, and she used to host 2-3 day retreats there. She did a lot of community service and things like that. And so 1992, we were going to go to the retreat. Now, remember something. I grew up this way, by the way. My household, when you have a birthday, you don't ask for something, you give to someone else. That was the rule. That was in India also, that was here also. So in India, we used to do Annadanam on any of our birthdays, poor feeding. And here, my aunt said we used to do a combination. So poor feeding plus Operation Eyesight, we used to donate. Right. So you never asked, because my aunt had a very clear rule. She said, I'm not going to wait till your birthday to give you something. You will, what you require will be provided for. So birthdays and all, we'll give to others who really have that need. I said, okay, that's fine. But of course, I'm still a teenager. Okay. So at this stage, I'm still a teenager. I wanted a new pair of shoes. Now, my old pair of shoes wasn't gone. Okay. And this runners is specifically what I wanted. My old pair of runners wasn't completely gone yet. And neither was it in bad shape. So and this is right before we are about to leave on the retreat. We're going to drive there. We're going to drive from Calgary to Portland, Oregon. And I said, I'd like to have a new pair of shoes for this. If we're going for the retreat, I would love to have a new pair of shoes. And she said, what's wrong with your old pair of shoes? I said, well, I'm going to outgrow it anyways. May as well just get me a new pair of shoes now. I'd like one. I mean, I've had these shoes for quite some time. And she said, Kanna, you don't need one right now. So I go to bed. I'm like, Swami, this is unfair. Absolutely unfair. I never ask for anything. I'm not that guy. I don't ask for electronics. I don't ask for anything. I'm asking for a pair of shoes, man. Come on. Like, are you serious? And this is the exact conversation I had with him. I told him, I said, dude, are you serious? I can't have a pair of shoes. Anyway, I forgot about it. We land up in Oregon at Wilma Bronchi's place, going through day 2 of the retreat. So day 1 goes by, sleeping, get up in the morning. Day 2 of the retreat, I believe it was afternoon. I want to say around 1:30 or 2 p.m. So the lunch breaks there was a lot of people. So the lunch breaks were, they were scheduled, like you were in batches, because not everybody could be fed at once. And I go to, it's our turn. I'm in my batch for lunch. So head out, and I wanted to get some fresh air. I'm like, you know what? And where her house was all, not only it was up on a hill, farmland, and just beautiful. I mean, absolutely gorgeous scenery. So I'm like, you know what? Hey, I've been sitting for so long. Let me go take even if it's 5 minutes, 5 minute, just a quick walk around and come. Go to my shoes. My shoes are filled with Vibhuti. I'm like, huh? So now I go back to Kamliyata. I'm like, Kamliyata, I didn't do this. You saw me. I was with you. in the hall the entire time, and I don't know anybody here. I need you to come see something. So, she comes. She said, she just looked at it. She was dumbfounded. First of all, there was Vibhuti in my shoes. I'm like, I'm not putting my legs in that. In that, that's not happening. You got to buy me a new pair of shoes because I'm not putting. I will not put. There is Vibhuti in both of my shoes. I'm not putting my feet in there. She just started smiling. She said, "You asked Swami, didn't you?" I said, "I didn't go behind your back. I just had a conversation with him. I thought it was unfair." She started laughing. She said, "Okay, fine." So we went and I got my pair of shoes. Um, that same year, now again, so we're talking 92. That same year, the rule in our house was we don't have maids. I mean, we cannot. The maids make more money in Canada than they do in India. They make more money than me. To be honest with you, the labor cost is high. So the rule was everybody contributes and we um, vacuum, clean, dust, all of that, right? We do all of that together. My job was the dusting and vacuuming. So, and we lived in a bungalow, meaning the two levels, the main level and the basement. And 1,500 square foot bungalow means it's 3,000 square foot. You double it, 3,000 square foot to dust, vacuum, and clean. So a lot of room. The top was easy. Our altar at that time, because it was a full wall long altar, was in the basement. I finished the basement, and part of my job was in the altar, because all of the pictures are there. You have to wipe down every picture properly, take it out, wipe it down, put it back. So it's painstaking job, right? I finished it all. Swami's picture, the centerpiece of the altar. I finish, go back, go away, put everything away, come back. There's something gleaming. I'm like, on his forehead. I'm like, okay, maybe I missed a spot. Who knows? I cleaned it again. Like, Swami, come on, give me a break. Okay, I got better things to do. I don't like doing chores anyways. I cleaned it off nicely. Go away, walk back 5 minutes later. There's something gleaming again. This happened 3 times. Fourth time, Kamliyata was home. Now, her inspection routine, she's very strict. Okay, she's very, very strict. Her inspection routine was she'll put on a white glove on the right hand. She will randomly touch any spot. If that finger turns brown anywhere, the entire house needs to be cleaned over again. That was the rule. And I'm praying, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing this over again. Like, it just took me 3 hours to get this done. Okay. So I didn't give her a chance. I just said, I went immediately. I heard her open the garage door opened, right? I heard it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get her right now. So she hadn't even put her bag down. I grabbed her hand. I said, Kamliyata, you need to come down with me. I just finished cleaning everything. The house is clean, but you need to come down with me. She said, okay, what's wrong? I said, nothing wrong. You come and see. I showed her that picture and I said, I have cleaned that picture 3 times. There is no way I have missed a spot. I have cleaned it with a wet wipe. I've cleaned it then after the wet wipe with a dry cloth. No way I missed a spot. She just looked at me. She did this on the thing, put it to her tongue. She said, hey, Amritam, why? One she gave me in the back of my head. She said, Amritam, why are you wiping it off? I said, see, Swami, you want to play games, man, but give me a break. I do not want more work from you. So right after that, I think this was the next year, 1993. I'm going chronologically. So Kamliyata and Kumar Chitpa used to go and volunteer. They used to volunteer at Parthi. So they were 6 months here, 6 months in Parthi. Kumar Chitpa was a vet, so he was there with the cows there in Parthi and helping take care of the cows and all of that. So at that time, in that year, Kamliatta was, Swami gave her one of his red robes. I don't know why. I have till today, the robe is with me, but I have no idea why he gave it to her. All I know is it created work for me. Yes, I just said that. It created work for me. So she brings it back and hangs it on, you know how we do it, right? On the chair, she puts the robe. It's draping over Swami's chair at the altar. Fine, good, all good. 2 weeks later, I go down again. I'm the one that has to vacuum. Vibhuti has come not only from the top of the robe, it has, and remember, here it's not like tile, it's carpeted at bottom, at least, but the basements especially are carpeted. There's Vibhuti everywhere on the carpet. Like I'm talking like a mound of Vibhuti, like a small mount, a small hill of Vibhuti on the carpet. And I'm looking at this going, you got to be kidding me. How am I going to clean this up? I mean, you talk about, that's the first thing I thought of. I didn't think about, oh, Vibhuti, blessing. No. I'm thinking about, मेरे लिए काम क्यों दे रहे हो भैया? आपको blessing देना है, blessing दो. काम मेरे लिए blessing नहीं है. Till today, I tell him the same thing. Till today, I say the same thing. काम मेरे लिए blessing नहीं है भैया. Please. What the? Okay. So then I told Kamliyata, I said, this is ridiculous. So from that year 93 till today, that robe now exists within a suit bag, so that if any Vibhuti comes, it comes inside of that suit bag, because then at least it doesn't fall on the carpet and there's no it's easier to deal with. And you can see on the insides of the suit bag, you can see Vibhuti marks all over. But he heard me, because this year, we got Vibhuti this year, and Kumkum and Chandanam and all of that. We got 5 times, and that's a different story. I'll get into that. But the reason we got it, notwithstanding, it never came. It's if I show you my altar right now, it is right to the edge of the ledge. Nothing has fallen on the carpet, but it has come right till the edge of the ledge of my altar. That's it. Nothing on the carpet. It has not fallen. So, when you talk about whether he listens, he does. He absolutely listens. There are these are a few snippets of how I have. I mean, till today, I talk to him the same way as I always have. I haven't changed one bit. I talk to him the exact same way. One of the things that I experienced in 2012, which is really, really, it's something. It's surreal. I've always told Swami, I said, you give me the strength. When I was very young, apparently my mom reminded me. She said, when I was very young, I had told my grandma and my mother and my dad, Gauriamma and Gauriappa, my great grandparents, decided to have so many of you all within such a short period of time. When you go, also you're going to go in order only. So I'm going to lose many, many family members. How the heck are we going to do this? And take all of that emotional strain. So I gave it to Swami. I said, you take the emotional strain. So when my dad passed away in 2012, but prior to his passing away, and he passed away in Coimbatore, prior to him passing away, so he was down with prostate cancer, and my mom and my brother, both my brothers, they said, I was here in Edmonton. They said, you need to come. I said, I can't afford to. They said, too bad. You need to come. I said, okay, fine. So I looked at Pavit. I'm like, Pavit's like, you need to go. Just go. So, okay, I'm going. So this was my first trip. I went for a couple of weeks. And at that time, they had said, he's almost there. He's going to pass away anytime soon. You need to come. Nothing. He was suffering, but he was not passing away. After 2 weeks, I'm like, I got to go back to work, man. Come on. So I told mom, I said, I'm heading back. I hadn't even landed. My cell phone was off. I landed. I get into a cab to come home. I have a text message saying, you need to come back. This isn't a joke now. I'm traveling from Coimbatore to Edmonton, and now I'm getting a text saying, you need to come back. What the heck? So I'm like, okay, Swami, fine. So I came home, showered, hopped back into another cab, went back to the airport, bought a ticket at the airport, Edmonton International Airport, and here I am back on my way. This is all economy class, by the way. So I'm hurting. This happened 3 times. So one trip back, second trip back, third trip. Then third trip, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm not coming back. Now, if dad passes away, I'm not meant to be here. It's okay. I have made my peace with it. That third trip, I was still, by the way, that third trip, it is 2012, right? My dad's wish was always that I complete my MBA. 2012 was the year I was going to graduate and complete my MBA. I had gotten permission from my university that I can do things from India and I can submit things online and all of that. My dad's in the operating room in Coimbatore, in the hospital. My mom sitting next to me, brother on the other side, oldest brother on the other side of me, and I'm in the middle working on my iPad, completing an assignment for my MBA. And my mom, she's half ragged, half in tears, and looks at me and actually was able to break out a smile and say, Kanna, I don't know how you're doing this. I said, because mom, we don't control what happens to dad. My faith is in Swami. He'll take care of it. If I'm meant to be here, I'll be here. If I'm not meant to be here, I won't be here. But I know the one thing I control. Dad wanted me to finish my MBA. Damned if I'm not going to do it before he goes. I will get that. That's the only thing. That's my focus. I said, I'm going to get that done because that I owe him. I'll get my MBA done. The rest of it is up to Swami. I'm okay with it either way, but I can't be weak-minded because that's not going to help me accomplish what I need to do, what I want to give dad, which is my MBA, completion of it. I got it done. Swami's grace, and I shouldn't say I got it done. Sorry, Swami got it done. But he gave that strength on that third trip back, and this is the part that I want to emphasize. He listens. He really does listen. So I'm flying back through Dubai. And at this point, I am exhausted. I mean, in 1 month, to fly that many times back and forth is ridiculous. So I'm in Dubai. I've got a good layover in Dubai, and I just, as I'm half dozing, half not able to sleep because, where is there? They have these lounge chairs where you can kind of stretch out, but you can't really sleep. I just said, Swami, I'm done. I can't. I arrive on Sunday and I'm supposed to be back at work on Monday. How am I going to do this? I'm done. I'm so exhausted. It's not funny. I'm leaving it to you. You figure it out. So boarding time comes. Now I did not know what an A380 was. I had no idea. I didn't care. I just wanted to get in my seat, get home. That's it. That was my only focus. Get back to my family, get back to my bed and get some rest. So I didn't know that this A380 is a giant aircraft with a whole bunch of things, features inside. Now my ticket is an economy ticket. I get to this place and this gentleman who's checks your boarding card and all that, right? Your passport. He looks at me and he says, "Sir, have you ever flown an A380?" I said, "Dude, I don't even know what an A380 is. I honestly, I'm just so tired. I just want to get to my seat." And he has a smile on his face and he says, "Congratulations, you've just been upgraded to first class free of charge. And I'm like, huh? Didn't strike me at the time. I just like, oh, okay. I didn't know that was a thing. Um, so he said, sir, don't go down this way. You're going to be up because this plane has two levels to it. You're going to be up. So you go down on towards the right and it'll take you to your seat. I said, okay. That ended up being if you want to talk about a de-stressor, 14 hours from Dubai to Toronto, I could sleep flat. They had a bar in the back and a lounge. Like, I kid you not, like, this is not a plane. This is something that celebrities get. It was so much fun. I got to meet a couple of older people, an older couple that were they're an adventurous type. They're retired. They'd been traveling the world, so to speak, and to hear their stories. I mean, if you want to talk about complete I didn't think about anything else. And when we arrived in Toronto, I was fresh. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely fresh. And yes, I did go to work on Monday morning. I arrived from Toronto to Edmonton, and I was able to go to work on Monday morning, no problems. I mean, these are things, if I talk to most people, they'll think I'm crazy. But these are things that he listens. He actually made that um, he actually made that happen, which is I'm eternally grateful for. Um, Similarly, and this was back in, and if I rewind 2 years, or even 3 years, end of 2009, yeah, mid of 2009. I had joined. Let me start from the beginning. Actually, when I graduated from university in 1998, one of the things that I wanted to do was join a tech company. That was one of the things that's where I was headed. In order to do that, I wanted to complete my MCSE. And back in 98, MCSE, Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer certification, was very expensive here in North America. And through conversations, we figured out that Sundar Iyer, and Mayaka also wanted to do the MCSE. And at that time, they were in Chennai. So Sundarana said, why don't you just come here? The three of us can do it together. And my dad agreed. He said, yeah, better to pay in rupees. You do that. So I flew down to Chennai and I was staying with Sundarana and Mayaka, and we finished off what would be a 12-month program normally in 3 months. We polished it off. We just put our heads down and decided we're just getting through this. And we polished it off in 3 months' time. After which I headed back because at that time, both my uncle and aunt were retired, and I was like, okay, I need to find a job. Like, I mean, that's just what needs to happen now. So this was end of 98, beginning of 99. And I had applied to this company called Replicon. Replicon was a tech company, it was a product company. I read the description, and I had a pretty decent sized ego at the time to say, you guys are describing me. So I applied one time, no answer. Okay, next month I saw the ad again. I'm like, what the hell? So I applied another time. Same thing. 3 times I applied. 4th time I saw the ad again. And I'm like, you guys are dumb. You're not, I am the guy you're looking for. Your job description describes me. How come I am not getting an interview? And I was fuming. By the way, for anybody listening, any youngsters that listen to this is not my recommendation on how you get a job. Please recognize that. It's just something that happened to me. I was mad. Replicon is downtown Calgary. It was about 20 minutes away from where I lived. And I said, you know what, Swami, I'm done. I'm done being nice. I am going to figure it out. What's going on here? So I printed out my resume. I drove downtown. And by the time no bhajan could calm me down, By the time I got downtown, I was even more upset, 3 times as upset as I was when I'd left my house. And I was upset when I'd left my house. So I get there. I storm in, literally. There's no appointment, no nothing. I slap my resume down. Maggie was the receptionist at the time there. And I still remember the look on her face because she was shocked. Nobody had done that before. And I said, here's my resume. I've applied 3 times and gotten no callbacks. What the heck is going on? And I went on a rant. And she said, sir, I've never seen this resume before. I said, you know what? That's a lie because I have sent it in 3 times. No way you've not seen this before. And I was just, so she got to the point where she said, if you don't leave, I'm going to have to call the cops. I said, call the cops. No problems. Now, in the meantime, Pam Bryan, who was the manager at the time, sales manager at the time, walked out. And I just looked at Pam and she said, what is going on here? I said, Pam, give me 30 seconds of your time. She wants to call the cops. I'm telling you, just give me 30 seconds. If you give me 30 seconds of your time, it'll either be a win or not. And I'll walk away. I'll walk away if you think this is the bad fit, but you have nothing to lose because I believe you're looking for me. That ended up, and the entire time I'm just doing this because I'm like, Swami, this is not a good way to get a job, but hey, whatever. The words have already come out of my mouth now. That 30 seconds ended up being 1.5 hours. I got the job and was with that company for 10 years. And when you fast forward that, so I got the job. I was with them for 10 years. You fast forward that to 2000, end of 2009, I'd say halfway through 2009. I decided I had grown enough in the company and I wasn't learning anything more. So I walked into my CEO's office again. I'm like, Swami, you're going to talk through me because I have no idea what I'm going to say or how I'm going to approach this. But I don't know how to do this whole secret search thing. I'm not that guy. I want to be honest with people. So anyway, I walk into Raj's office and I say, we need to talk. I think I need to move on. And he says, shut the door, sit down. So I sat down. He said, and the first things out of his mouth was, I want to understand the reasons. Let's go for lunch. So him and I ended up going out for a 2-hour lunch. I explained my reasons to him and he looks at me, and I did not expect this. He looks at me and he says, Pavit and the kids are my responsibility, not just yours. I'm like, huh? That's not what I expected. So he said, you've made your point. Start looking. And at the time, where I was looking was outside of Canada. I was looking specifically at Silicon Valley. I wanted, because in the tech sector, Silicon Valley experience on your resume was huge. So that's the only place I was applying. I was not applying anywhere else. He said, apply, but don't quit. When you get something, he said, the only thing I have for you is you will not accept an offer until I sign off on it. I said, okay, ye bhi sahi. I'm okay with that. I can live with that. So 6 months, and I got shortlisted on literally every position I applied for to the final 2 candidates. And they ended up, for 6 months, this happened. They ended up hiring the American over the Canadian. Why? Because they would have had to sponsor me. Right? I'm a Canadian citizen, not an American citizen. They would have had to sponsor me. So they ended up hiring the American every single time. So I was getting emotionally just fed up. So one day I hear, and Pavit was obviously seeing the frustration in me because I was irritable. I was not a pleasant personality to be around on weekends. So one Friday afternoon, I get a call from Mahesh Mama, which is actually Pavit's mama, but he may as well be my mama. We're pretty close. So he calls the office and I said, hi, Mahesh Mama. It's Friday afternoon. Hi, Mahesh Mama. How are you? He said, oh, what are your weekend plans? I said, nothing, Mahesh Mama. I'm going to. Now, remember, he lives in Edmonton, which is 3 hours away from Calgary. In fact, 3.5 because he lives in Sherwood Park, which is half an hour outside of Edmonton. So it's a drive, um, a different city altogether. So he said, what are your weekend plans? I said, yeah, no plans, Mahesh Mama. I'm planning to just hang out and de-stress and just relax. Um, so he said, I'll see you for dinner. I said, no, Maishma, I have no plans on coming this weekend. I thought he hadn't heard me. So I finished talking and he says, I'll see you for dinner. I said, Maishma, I'm not just FY, I'm not coming. Maybe another weekend we can plan. I'll see you for dinner. I said, okay, Maishma, I'm not sure what's going on. He said, Pavit and the kids are already packed. The car is packed. They're waiting for you to get home. Hop in the car. I'll see you for dinner. Now I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on here? So I said, okay, fine. I give up. At that point, I'm too tired, too stressed out, too tired. I'm like, okay, whatever. People are making plans. And then I was a little bit mad because I'm like, people are making plans without asking me. Whatever, fine. We're heading, I get home, we're heading to Sherwood Park. We're heading to and halfway between is a town called Red Deer. So, I'm the one driving. So we've been, the kids are in the back, Pavit is sitting next to me. We're playing all of these games in the car and singing, and I'm playing bhajans and all of that. We reach Red Deer, like I said, halfway mark, right? And I don't know why. I put my hand on my heart. I just looked out the window. And I'm like, you know what, Swami? I'm done. If you need me to stay at Replicon, tell me. If you need me to go to Timbuktu, tell me. If you need me to go anywhere else, please tell me, but I need a sign because I am confused. I'm distraught at this point. I'm done. I'm not the one in charge. You are. So tell me, where do you want me to go? Anyway, we arrive in Sherwood Park and Mahesh Mama takes away my cell phone. He says, give me your cell phone. I'm putting it away. I said, but he said, no buts. You can have it tomorrow. You're not checking email. You're not doing any work tonight. We're just going to have some fun. So anyway, we relaxed. We had some fun. Wake up on Saturday morning. Mahesh Mama, can I have my cell phone back? Yeah. He goes, grabs it, brings it. I have a voicemail. Huh? From an Edmonton number. I've never applied to anything in Edmonton. Anyway, whatever. I listened to the voicemail. It's from a gentleman called Steve Gentles from a company called Awarebase, based out of Edmonton, saying, I have your resume in front of me. I'd like to meet you. अरे भैया जब अप्लाई ही नहीं किया है रेज्यूमे कहां से आया मैंने तो थोड़ी भेजा है. So I was at this point, I'm like, I go to Mahesh Mama, I'm like, Mahesh Mama, I don't know what the heck is happening here. This is very confusing. मैंने apply नहीं किया है. There's a voicemail. He said, respond to the voicemail. I said, but I have not applied. What am I supposed to respond? He said, the man wants to talk to you. What's your harm in having a chat? Respond to the voicemail. I'm like, okay. So I responded to the voicemail. I said, I have to go back home on Sunday night because I work on Monday. So maybe we can maybe we can chat over the phone. And also, Steve, just to let you know, I didn't come prepared for an interview. I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. And shorts. I mean, I'm not prepared at all to attend an interview. Next morning, Steve calls back on Sunday. So he obviously got my email. Calls back on Sunday and he says, "Hey, dude, if possible, let's meet. Because I'll fall off my chair if you're, pardon me, worse dressed than I am." And he was laughing. I'm like, okay, ab kya karu? I'm supposed to head back Sunday night. Sunday afternoon, snowstorm. Highway is closed. Replicon calls me back saying, don't come back. We know you're in Edmonton. Stay there. Take Monday off. Do not bother. Highway is closed. Be safe. Okay, so now I can go for the interview on Monday. Unexpected snowstorm, that too. So Monday, I end up spending 4 hours with these guys. That Thursday, I get an offer from them, and the same night, Raj calls me back and says, "We've talked to to Stephen, because he had asked me for Stephen's cell number. He said, "You're not signing any offer letter until we talk to him." And they had a good conversation, apparently. And he said he's a good man. Sign the offer. And that's how I ended up um, that's how I ended up in Edmonton. And if you fast forward 10 years post that, the pandemic hit, right? And Pavit and I both lost our jobs at the same time. We both. So household income went to zero in one fell swoop in 2020. And I'm like, okay, now what? So I said, okay, Swami, you're going to take care of it anyway. Fine. I'm not worried. My focus, that happened on a Monday. My focus was between that the starting on the Monday was, how do we curtail all our expenses? How do we reduce everything to bare minimum? And so that's what I was working on. Now, that same week on Friday was, I've been in touch, by the way, with Replicon, with Raj the entire time. Was Raj's birthday. So I'm like, I'm just going to call him to wish him happy birthday. Kya hai? So I called him. I wished him happy birthday. We were talking for 45 minutes. In fact, his older daughter, Kirti, and Sidhu grew up together. So they were also talking to each other. And then finally, Raj came back with me. And I was like, Raj, I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. I just said, Raj, I think it's time for me to come back home. What do you think? And he didn't even think. He just said, you know what? Your timing might be right. Let me talk to Maggie. And sure enough, within 3 weeks, I'm back at the company I started with. These are not things that happen without Swami takes care of these things. These are not things I firmly believe that. I simplify life to a large extent with that belief. Because for me, I just talk to him like I shouldn't say like he's, because I know he's there. I know he listens. Anything, and it may not be in the timing that I want. That is also there. Things may not happen. Like I wanted to go to Silicon Valley, that didn't happen. And my son got diagnosed about 2.5 years now, I think, back with massive seizures. He was having about 40 to 50, my younger one, seizures per day. So not a joke. You know where the renowned neurologist that he has, not just across North America, but across North America and Europe, resides here in Edmonton, works out of the Children's Stollery Hospital here in Edmonton. So when I think back on it and say, why did you not want me to go to Silicon Valley? I have my answer now. He knew, he had forecasted that this was going to happen, and he had forecasted where I needed to be to get Vedant the best care possible. And it's here. That's, I got many more, but these are the key ones that I thought would resonate. But yeah, for me, Swami listens. There is no two ways about it. He absolutely listens. That's what I have for today.